All right, let's talk about the beauty industry. But we're not talking about the latest trends or what's new on the runway. Nope, we're going behind the scenes, looking at the schools that are supposed to be launching careers, but instead are often leaving students with nothing but a mountain of debt. So what is really happening behind those salon doors? Let's get into it. I want to start with a number, $238 million. That is the absolutely staggering amount in student loans the government had to forgive for students from just one fraudulent beauty school chain, Marinella Schools of Beauty. And believe me, that is just the tip of the iceberg in an industry that has a long, long history of problems. You see a number like that, and it just raises a huge question, right? It's a question we're tackling today. What is really going on inside the world of cosmetology education? How does it get this bad? To really understand how we got here, we've got to peel back the curtain and look at the ugly side of this industry. We're talking about systemic issues that have been allowed to fester for decades, often because the regulations are loose and the focus is all on profit, not people. And look, this isn't just about a few bad apples. The research on this is crystal clear. I'm just going to read this directly from our source material because it says it all. The cosmetology education sector has long been plagued by allegations of student exploitation, deceptive financial aid practices, and systemic misuse of unpaid labor. This has been the reality for a long, long time. So what does that actually look like? Well, this slide basically breaks down the playbook for how this exploitation happens. You've got schools forcing students into unpaid work that has nothing to do with their education. We're talking cleaning toilets, doing laundry, pushing products. They manipulate federal financial aid, often by faking attendance records. The instruction can be so bad that graduates can't even pass their state licensing exams. And sometimes these schools just disappear overnight, taking all the student tuition with them. And it all really comes from this one deeply flawed business plan called the dual revenue model. And if you think this is just theoretical, think again. The financial consequences are staggering, and they're all over the public record. Douglas J. Aveda, they settled for $2.8 million for making students do non-educational work. Empire Beauty School, a whopping $6.75 million for overcharging customers for services done by unpaid students. The Capri Institute, over $500,000 after just vanishing on their students. This isn't a coincidence, folks. It is a clear, undeniable pattern of abuse. So you might be wondering, where's the legal line between actual education and just plain exploitation? Well, it often comes down to something called the primary beneficiary test. Courts use this to ask a really simple question. Who is benefiting more from the student's work? Is it the student, who's getting valuable, hands-on experience they need for their license? Or is it the school, which is just getting free labor to staff its salon and make money? If the work isn't educational, it's very likely illegal. Okay, so that's the broken model. And yeah, it's pretty bleak. But what if there's a different way to do all this? What does a system that's actually built on integrity look like? And this is where the Louisville Beauty Academy, or LBA, comes into the picture. Our source material for this explainer points to them as a school in Kentucky that is doing things completely differently. Their whole approach is driven by compliance and putting students first. And this right here, this slide really captures their philosophy. It's not just about following the rules, it's about empowerment. Their motto is, yes, I can, I have done it. This powerful focus on a student's self-worth, that's the foundation for everything they do.
So, let's get into the nitty-gritty. How exactly did LBA manage to rewrite the rules of beauty education? What are they actually doing differently?
The biggest difference, the one at the very core, is the business model. The industry norm is that dual revenue model we talked about, where schools profit twice, first from tuition and then again from free student labor in their for-profit salons. LBA's model, it's strictly curricular. They only profit from tuition. Any work a student does is purely for educational credit, not to make the school another buck. It's a fundamental ethical shift. Here's another game changer, how they track student hours. The old way, paper records, was just begging to be faked, you know? It was dangerously easy to commit fraud. LBA uses technology to solve this with an AI-verified digital log. Every single hour is tracked in a record that can't be changed, and it's completely auditable. You just can't cheat the system. And the results of this ethical model, they're honestly incredible. Just look at these numbers. LBA's licensure rate is 95%, compared to an industry average of just 67%. I mean, that's the difference between having a career and having a dead end. Getting a job within 2 months, 90% at LBA versus 58% elsewhere. And the student debt, LBA students graduate with less than half the debt of their peers. And maybe most telling of all, zero state audit violations. The data here is just undeniable. Let's just zoom in on that one metric because it's probably the most critical of all, the licensure rate. 95% at LBA versus 67% on average. What this means is that an LBA graduate is almost certain to get their license and actually start their career, while a full third of students at other schools are left with debt and no credential to show for it. It's a shocking, shocking difference. Okay, so this is amazing for one school in Kentucky, but it brings up the really big question, doesn't it? Can this model of integrity actually be scaled up to fix an entire national industry? Well, the research actually gives us a blueprint for national reform, and it's based directly on what LBA is already doing successfully. It includes things like mandating transparency on costs and hours, conducting regular audits to make sure student work is actually educational, requiring tamper-proof digital hour tracking like LBA's, empowering students by giving them the legal info right from day one, and finally, holding schools accountable with bonds so they can't just close up shop and run with the money. Which brings us to our final big question. Louisville Beauty Academy has proven that an ethical, student-first model isn't just possible, it's dramatically more successful for everyone involved. But is one school's integrity enough to give an entire industry the complete makeover it so desperately needs? Well, that's the challenge that lies ahead.